Well, let's talk specifically about housing. And what, even more specifically, is up with Rishi Sunak's new housing policy. He pledges to preserve the green belt in Aspic, banning councils from amending it, preventing development around the dozen or so cities that the green belt currently covers. He also says that any new house building should be done on brownfield land, which may come as a surprise to his local council, as the very same Rishi Sunak applied for planning permission to build a new single-storey sporting complex on a green field near his Grade 2 listed home only last year. Yes, in Rishi Sunak's world, only he is allowed to build on fields. No one else can. But beyond the hypocrisy, let's explore this idea in its own terms, because to most of us, preventing any green belt amendments might, at face value, seem like a nice thing. Well, let's turn to a case study in York, where controversy erupted earlier this year when a developer proposed to construct up to 158 homes on land sandwiched between a housing estate, a dual carriageway and railway lines. So why was there uproar about this scrap of land? Well, it had been designated as part of the green belt back in the 1940s. Fortunately, the council in the end saw sense. The green belt was amended and the homes in this tiny corner of land were approved. Yet, under Rishi Sunak's policy, this peculiar cut-off bit of land by the road and the railway would stay forever undeveloped and unloved. But surely that's just an anomaly, right? The rest of the green belt is in reality the rolling fields that our minds go to when we think of England. Well, not quite. This is where the green belt actually is. Frozen land around a dozen or so cities that are deemed to be important. It doesn't include those areas of outstanding natural beauty in England that we know so well. It doesn't cover the Chilterns, the Yorkshire Dales, the Lake District, the Peak District, the Cotswolds, the South Downs, Dartmoor, Thetford, or the New Forest. No, none of those areas are green belt. Most green land in England is not green belt. And indeed, some green belt is not green land. No, the most beautiful parts of our country, the parts that protecting perhaps matters most, are entirely distinct from the green belt. Yet I get the sneaking feeling that when we think of green belt, our minds erroneously but understandably go to those areas of outstanding natural beauty. But what did I mean when I said that some green belt is not green land? Well, a project to build 40 social rented homes was rejected from this scrap of concrete because it has green belt status. Indeed, this junkyard is some of London's green belt. And so is this tip. And even this car wash. Yes, in fact, a former Bradford councillor took to social media yesterday to dispel some green belt myths. Simon Cook was a councillor for 24 years and he took to Twitter to share the reality of what the green belt, just in his ward, really looks like. It included the site of an old mill, several scrapyards, a car park, an empty chicken slaughterhouse, some empty unused buildings as well. Unable to be redeveloped, of course, and remember, all of this is green belt in just one council ward. Yes, some green belt simply isn't green at all, and we might all be better off with a rationalisation, a reclassification, classifying some of our genuinely precious areas of natural beauty as green belt, and freeing up some of the ugliest, most concrete, blighted road or railside bits of what is erroneously called the green belt right now. Here is perhaps a surprising fact. In 1979, the green belt covered 721,000 hectares of England. By 2020, that had more than doubled to 1.6 million hectares of England. It is possible to enhance protections, to rationalise the system, but none of that can be done with unthinking pledges that Greenbelt can never, ever be touched. Not even the concrete bits. Now, Sunak's desperate attempt at populism is wrong. It doesn't protect green land in the way he would like you to think it does. And it will make it even harder for young people to get on that housing ladder. And that, in and of itself, is an existential question for the Conservative Party. Without enough homes, with young people stuck in renting traps, with nothing of their own to conserve, the Tory party will find it harder and harder to win those votes. Any leader serious about a home-owning democracy, serious about winning elections, and frankly, serious about conservatism, would not trumpet big government clumsy planning policy that prevents sensible development. Rishi needs a rethink.